My salutations to Shri Sadguru Yogi Nareyana Thathaya. Satcharitra of Shri Sadguru Yogi Nareyana Thathaya of Kaiwara. Chapter 9, Parade Shah Swami. It is said that there is always a woman behind every man's success. We have innumerable real-life examples that bear it out. The renowned poet-musician Sri Purandara Dasa was originally a trader named Srinivasa Nayaka, who was given up to opulence and worldly indulgence. One day his wife, Saraswati Bai, showed him that all material pleasures and possessions were just a delusion. They were ephemeral and inferior to divine grace, which alone was eternal. With this realization, he renounced all his possessions as charity to others and became an ardent devotee of the deity Panduranga in the Vithaba temple. Before attaining sainthood, the renowned poet Vamana led a dissipated life. On one fateful day, the nudity of a courtesan intended for his relish actually had the opposite effect on him. It emphasized the vanity and emptiness of social relationships and practices. He was ashamed to have been fooled by the surface coating that obscured the sham. It engendered an instant disgust and aversion in him to the duplicity in society. He became an ascetic, critical of the detestable practices in his pithy, simple verses, Vamana Shataka. His philosophy is unquestionable and has eternal relevance. Now, let us look at the great poet Goswami Tulasidas. Spiritual revelation dawned on him only after some admonition from his wife, Ratnavali. She advised him to focus his attention and energies on serving the Almighty. Why are you obsessed with carnal pleasures? This is a squalid body, a rotten conglomerate of flesh, blood, pus, and excreta. It is unworthy of your fascination. If you had turned your carnal love and admiration for me into deep devotion for Lord Sri Rama, you would have attained spiritual liberation. These words were the crucial inspiration for Tulasidas to direct all his love and devotion to the Lord, and he finally brought out the works of his life like Ramakaritha Manas and Hanuman Chalisa. His devotion earned him the exalted status of Jivanmukta. Then there was the great poet Kalidas, who was originally thoroughly stupid. It was only when he was disdained by his wife, Vidyotama, for his stupidity that he appealed to goddess Kali and invoked her benevolence to become the phenomenal poet that produced great works like Abhijnana Shakuntalam and Raghuvamsham. As for another one, the great Vishwamitra, who, in spite of his long spells of penance and renunciation, became infatuated with the exquisite glamour of the nymphette Manaka and married her. Upon the birth of his daughter, Shakuntala, his infatuation gave way to aversion, which furthered his spiritual course from a Raja Rishi to a Brahma Rishi. The life histories of such luminaries speak volumes for one common factor, namely the motivation by a woman that enabled their transformation from their original ordinary existence to a spiritual celebrity status. Her encouragement and inspiration cannot be described in words. That is why the provenance of a woman, a river, or a sage should not be explored or belittled. It is equal to sacrilege. In the life of Sri Narayanapa, his wife Muniamma, through her mordant assessment of his outlook, provided indirect motivation to seek the path of salvation. In accordance with her directive, he slung a fragile load across his shoulder and set out on business. He proceeded in the direction of Papanapalli, reached Nagadevanapalli by dusk, and retried for the night at the temple of Sri Gopalaswamy. While asleep, he experienced a wonderful dream. A Satguru of divine refulgence appeared with the message, "I am Parayachur Swami, waiting for you at the mountain pass of Mogilai Venkatagiri." He was shaken awake. The next day, he continued his journey, selling his wares in the villages along the way, but the dream haunted him all along. He reached Chitta via Pungana. He stayed there for some weeks, going around the nearby villages and selling his wares. Whatever he did and wherever he went, he never stopped singing the glory of the Almighty. One evening, he retired under a peepal tree in the village. Again, the same dream and the same message, as vivid as the one he had in the Sri Gopala Swami temple in Nagadevanapalli. Nareyana was excited about the message and the appearance of Parayachur Swami. With the second experience, the business took a back seat, and he was aching to go to that place and meet the great soul. He could not wait. With an impulsive smile, he sobered up and set off at once in the direction of Mogilai Venkatagiri Pass. There were not many travelers in the hilly terrain. He kept walking, unmindful of food, rest, or shelter, or the time of day, the weather, or the surroundings. His mind was focused on the guru of his dream and his invitation. Meanwhile, the sun set, and the sky became dark with storm clouds. Then the downpour began. It was pitch dark all around except for occasional sparks of lightning. He was cold and drenched. The darkness offered no clue as to where he was going. He slogged alone without discouragement, squinting in every direction for the sacred spot he had witnessed in his dream. During that groping walk, he suddenly found a grotto in the distance, from which came a wonderful radiance. He plodded closer, and who should he find but the very Parayachur Swami of his dreams, seated stock still in the meditative posture of Padmasana, dazzling with the luminosity of innumerable suns, with unblinking eyes in steady stare, with focus on the constant rhythm of respiration, and with tenacity immune from the worldly passions and emotions. With the Rudraksha garlands around his neck and the Vibhuti lines on the forehead, with the outfit of Yogadanda and Kamandala, dark deerskin laid out on the floor, he was seated in the void, as if in a buoyant, invisible chair. As soon as he saw him, Nareyana confirmed to himself that he was the great guru of his dreams. His hunger, thirst, and fatigue were gone. He felt within himself a long affinity with the Guru that traversed many of his previous lives. He sat down still opposite the yogi, lounging in the ecstasy of his immediate presence, body covered in gooseflesh all over, and eyes riveted on him. After a spell of silence, Parayachur Swami came out of his meditative slumber, looked at Nareyana, and gave him a warm hug that resembled the ethereal touch of the Almighty. He felt redeemed by his very glance and touch. Of course, the chance meetings between great souls with a purposeful existence are glorious. For this, there is an illustrative anecdote in the Ramayana. During their search for the missing Sita, Sri Rama and Lakshmana arrived in the forest near the Rishyamukha mountain. The exiled Sugriva, who was terrorized by the mighty Vali, was uneasy about their presence. He said to his minister, "Do you see the strangers, Anjaneya? I have a hunch that they are the agents deputed by Vali. You now go out and meet them halfway and find out about them. If they happen to be agents of our enemy, kill them right away." Hanuman perched on a tree in their way and waited. Lakshmana saw him and told Sri Rama, "My brother, do you see the monkey perched up there? How beautiful it is! I have not seen anything like that before." Sri Rama replied, "But Lakshmana, who do you think he is? He is not an ordinary monkey. He is the indomitable Hanuman. Look at his jewelry and the glint of the diamond necklace on his chest." Thanks for listening, and please do listen part 2 of chapter 10.